Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to 321 No Kiddin. Bobby the Awesome here. It is Thursday, September 17th, and I am ready to chat with you for a few minutes. I just got off the phone with my counselor, went for a little walk while I was talking to her. I continue to stay up past my bedtime, but my apartment is getting very clean with this effort. There's nothing better than coming back from a trip or I guess even for the day and coming in and walking into a clean house. So I've done some of that big decluttering that's been getting in the way. So feels freeing. I'm all packed for my trip. Just a couple more incidentals and I'll be hitting the road. It's crazy. 48 hours from now, I'll be on my way. So what do we got today? We have a quote from Isamu Noguchi. Appreciate the moment. Imagine living in a time warp where everything is slowed down. An hour would take a year to unfold. The events of 5 minutes would last a month. With so much time, we could look at everything in greater detail. We could see and think about every detail of everything that surrounds us. Now, try letting time speed up to normal, but retain the awareness and curiosity for detail we found in the time warp. How much richer our lives are when we take the time to look around us. Our higher power has stocked each moment with a treasure for us. Living for the moment in sobriety helps us become aware of the little joys that previously passed us by. And in these little moments, we find life itself, and in each found treasure, we see the footprints of our higher power, always walking beside us. Today, help me to see the beauty of a flower, a smile, a sober lifestyle, one moment at a time. Well, this is very time appropriate. So if I was to slow down time, and I think that this really ties into being self-aware and mindful. And I love that it just describes it as like stretching out time. The idea of going slow, I'll be honest, as someone who likes action and adventure, I guess that freaks me out. Like I would hate to go slow, but I need to savor things, right? I need to acknowledge things like the flowers and the sunsets. And I always have tried, but as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm picturing like when I go for my walks, I take pictures of the flowers, all different kinds, all different stages. And my intention is long term, like that I'll have a lot of them framed as art in my, my brick and mortar dream because they've been an important part of my recovery. But I think I could take it even a step further. I'll pause on a walk and I'll take a picture, but then I keep walking. I don't sit there as a general rule. I mean, sometimes I do. Sometimes I talk to the flowers too, which hopefully not too many witnesses have caught me doing that. But I'll be like, oh, you look so pretty today. Or, oh, hi, Mr. Bumblebee. Like I'm having a conversation with inanimate objects. And I guess maybe that's the time I am present. But I don't do that every time. And maybe I need to pause a little longer to like soak it in. I think this reading is going to help me in the future, actually. Take a little bit more of a moment to appreciate the beauties of the flowers or the scenery or the experience, whatever that experience is. I realized that I'm in such a rush to get on this road trip and that, I have so many cool spots that I want to go to or that I am going to, but I also have to remember to be very present. Like I'm going to see people, my first stop Saturday night, I'm going to see someone I haven't seen in over 30 years. Right? If I'm 46. All right. Well, maybe close to 30 years. And, in a couple hours, we're going to catch up on everything that's happened in the 30 years, and get reacquainted. And I want to be present for that. And I'm excited to do that. And this is where I guess my no alcohol comes in too, right? Because I've been struggling with this decision about whether or not I'm going to drink on this trip. And evidently yesterday was my 9 months without alcohol. And I operate from a place of pride, so like now that I got to 9 months, I want to get to a year. Like I don't know. It's just something. And then, I guess when I look at a year, we'll see what happens. It still blows my mind that I'm functioning without alcohol, like, not that it was, I get up in the morning and drink or whatever, but it was just part of my lifestyle. So it blows my mind that it's not incorporated into so many things anymore. It's not surprising to me that people still love and accept me and that I have a good time without it. That's less mind-blowing than just the fact of the habit piece of it. But anyway, if I was still drinking and I was going on this trip, I would not be able to enjoy the experiences or remember the experiences or whatever that looks like. And I practiced this a little last September when I went to Kansas City. I definitely was very mindful of my drinking, and I didn't want to get drunk because I wanted to enjoy the visit. And I know I'm comparing this to drinking, but it can be with anything if we're in that go, go, go mentality. It doesn't have to be drinking. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be removing things. I mean, we removed the gambling, and wow, I paused there because what was going through my head? I'm picturing standing in the casino and waiting for hand pay, and how I still wanted to go, go, go. I just couldn't lose my money quick enough, and I'd be feeding machines on all sides of me. That go, go, go. I didn't even stop and appreciate the win. I mean, now granted, we're talking about addiction, illness, craziness, but that's really how crazy it was. How was I not appreciating the win? Because it wasn't really a win. It was just progressing the illness. But that just totally popped in my head. And I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to savor the people in my life and the places in my life and all of that. I mean, just taking this trip without casinos as destinations is crazy to me. Like, it's just crazy. And the value I'm going to get out of it, like, I just know that it's gonna. This is what I said to my counselor. I was like, I didn't know why I was supposed to go to Asia this year, but I knew I was supposed to go, that it was, part of my development or part of whatever I was supposed to do. And I feel the same way about this trip. It's part of whatever comes next. I need to do it for whatever reasons. I may not understand all the reasons this second, but I know that it's important that I do this. And I'm sure you guys will love hearing all about all the stuff I learn and all the adventures I'll be on, provided I do what this reading says. Pretending an hour would take a year. Like, I need to be in every moment that way. I noticed this morning when I was walking, I changed my scenery this morning. Instead of walking with Brenda behind the casino where I normally go, because, oh, by the way, it's freaking open, and now there's all these cars, and it's really annoying. I went and parked by a park and walked around there, and I've really outgrown multitasking, because the more I learn about the brain and just self-awareness, it's not like you have to be educated on the brain for this, but the science says that our brain can't be like doing two things at once, at least effectively. And I've come to believe that wholeheartedly. So even though I was breaking the rules a little bit while I was on the phone with Brenda, I was sitting there looking out at the water, and I can actually tell you that I saw the fog over the water and the algae. And I remember, like the fish bubbles jumping up. My brain wasn't racing quite the way it used to. It has in the past. So time was kind of slowed down, even though I was kind of multitasking by taking that stuff in. But it just occurred to me as I'm talking to you that I took notice. I took notice that, there was a running truck and like signs and flowers, and I can remember things about the park, which I don't normally walk, and I don't know. I guess I didn't even connect the dots until I'm talking to you about, being mindful. I guess I am. My practice is starting to pay off a little bit. Gosh knows, it does take practice. And when I interviewed Jamie for the After Gambling podcast, which I can't find the freaking recording to, I'm not giving up hope yet, but when I interviewed him, he told me, he's like, you gotta, well, he didn't tell me like I had to, but he challenged me to practice walking without my earphones, and just kind of think and be and go for the walk. And I would encourage you guys to do the same thing and see what shows up. That's going to be the closest thing we can do to slowing down time. This reading talks about looking at everything in greater detail. We could see and think about every detail of everything that surrounds us if time slowed down. We don't need time to slow down to do this. We need to have awareness, and we need to practice doing this for this to happen. Now try letting time speed up to normal, but retain the awareness and curiosity for detail we found in the time warp. How much richer our lives would be when we take time to look around us. There's one of the fellas who has a few kids in our group. This is something I've heard him speak about a lot, that now that he stopped gambling, he'll watch, he's at his kids' soccer games, he's present. I think one of the Christmas mornings, he talked about just watching the looks on the kids' faces as they were opening their gifts, and the appreciation and the joy and all those things that he never knew about. Like, we could be sitting in a room full of people, right? When we're in active gambling mode, we don't even know who's in the room. I didn't know who was in the room. Never mind what was going on in that moment. What was that situation? What were they talking about? I don't know if you've felt this way, but it's almost like zoning out, not being present. And I can recall doing, having my gambling thoughts at work or in family situations. It wasn't about being present in the celebration. It was about, okay, here I am. How do I get everybody to go to the casino with me after? Or how do I escape to go to the casino? And that usually meant inviting people in order to go. Or I would set it up before I even went down to Connecticut, or, before I went to the visit. It was like, okay, how do I get us to the casino? And I think that using this exercise to slow down and pay attention will help us appreciate, the finer things in life, the real things in life, the healthy things in life. So I like that this has a little bit of a twist of how we might think about time or being present. And it's funny that, being present in the present is so relative when we talk about time travel, right? We're not talking about being in the past, and we're not talking about being in the future. We're talking about being in the moment. And time slowing down. It doesn't have to slow down. We just need to acknowledge what's around us. In these little moments, we find life itself, and in each found treasure, we see the footprints of our higher power always walking beside us. Isn't that funny, too, that we just talked about footprints in the sand this week? This is saying to me, if we look, this is no different than when we were talking about, the God and higher power and all of that, and how we may not see it in the dark times. I think this is saying that if we slow down and take a look at the bright times, that maybe we'll see that God is there as well. Today, help me see the beauty of a flower, a smile, a sober lifestyle, one moment at a time. And that's just it, guys. One moment at a time. And here's another aha little thought I just had. If we're going slow and we're taking the time to appreciate what's going on around us, there's always stuff going on around us, right? If we focus on what's going around us, maybe we're not thinking about the bet, right? Because I just explained, our brain can't do that multitasking, at least not on a level of any sense of quality. But if we're focused on what a person is saying to us or what the scenery is around us, it's just another way to not bet, to not think about the bet, to not, want to be in action. So I highly recommend that you guys practice this. I think it's a forever practice, like our recovery. I don't know that it's a overnight fix. It ties in with even just taking a breath. It's funny. All right. I'm going to be a little racy for my normal style, but I guess I'm revved up lately. I had recorded an interview for when I'm gone, and as you guys know, I don't really get into religion as such, and I don't really get into politics. This is just not who I am. It's not conversation. As far as I'm concerned, all of that stuff, will bring up angst and all that. But I did an interview yesterday, and we just had some phenomenal conversation. Nothing that will serve as triggers. Otherwise, it wouldn't, I wouldn't air it. But that'll be coming out a little later in October. And I guess it opened me up for what I'm about to tell you, which is not religion or politics. It's the other taboo subject. I don't really talk about sex or my body parts or any of that stuff. But I came up with this idea, and it's like multi-purpose, and it tied into my awareness. So they tell us that meditation, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. I'm actually blushing, to be honest. So when we think about meditation and being mindful, they tell us that if just being conscious of our breath is meditating. So what I decided was, what if every time I was trying to be mindful in breathing, I practice, instead of just my breath, I practice with Kegels. I know this is really bananas. And this works with men and women, not just women, because evidently strengthening our pelvic floors are good for lots of reasons. But just I just never would have associated that with meditating. But it's something physical going on in your body, something other than just the breath that is actually healthy for you. But it was like, okay, I'll know when I stop paying attention, when I'm not, flexing or unflexing. I don't even know what the right terminology is, but it was a good way for an awareness exercise. So I challenge you to have a little fun with that too. See the weird things that come out of my head once I quit my job and have time to think and do. All right, beautiful people. I think tomorrow is our last daily episode together. I think I really am sad of this idea. There's so much freedom to it, but I also I just don't want to miss a day in the book, and I don't want to miss a day with being with you guys. This is so good. All right. I'm going to be a big girl. It's making an investment. And it's funny because as I've been setting myself up with both my clients and with my staff and with just people in my life about kind of being disconnected from all the normal things I've been doing, I realized it's a lot like when I went to rehab. Nobody noticed I was gone for a month, in the social media world or any of that stuff. People we're not as important as we think we are, I guess. So I'm gonna be humbled by the fact that you guys maybe don't, you're not gonna miss me as much as I'm gonna miss you. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I can't set expectations around how any of us are gonna feel if I'm practicing what I preach, right? All right, beautiful people. Have a terrific Thursday.